It's easy to tell you a flat story. It's easy to show you what's happening around the world. We do the difficult part.
This is a story of a great loot, one where the people of Pakistan are being cheated.
We also tell you why what's happening.
Why would China react so strongly to the downing of a mere balloon?
We look beyond the text, we give you context.
In the world's oldest democracy, people are dying by random guns.
Is China witnessing another Tiananmen moment? People are on the streets calling for President Xi Jinping to step down.
Do leaders mean what they say? Do they ever say what they mean? To find out how real news affects you, your decisions.
For the last 2 decades, Turkey has been collecting earthquake tax. What did the government do with this money? Where was it spent?
Watch Gravitas. We don't impose our views.
Who helped the Taliban repair the sophisticated planes?
That is Gravitas. We let life breathe through our show. Gravitas, the informed show for an intelligent audience.
Hello, welcome to This World. Vladimir Amelyan joins us from Kiev, and he is currently on the front line fighting Russian troops.
We believe that world should be ruled by democracies.
I was interviewing you on television a couple of weeks back.
That's right.
And you said, if you really want to understand Jerusalem, why don't you come here and see it?
And you came.
Here I am. Mass shooting after mass shooting after mass shooting. Why this cannot be fixed?
There are 425 million guns in the United States, which is more than the population.
The problem here is Trump has been able to make the argument that this is a political prosecution and that he's being singled out unfairly.
We defend our nation.
You are saying we could have a cure for cancer.
We'll have treatments for many cancers in this decade, and they're going to come from India.
Downside is that it could potentially wipe us out. But let's start with the upside first.
The upsides are absolutely enormous. The potential uses of this are almost unlimited.
I only discovered AutoGPTs about a week ago and started writing about them. And after I started writing about them, Jeff Bezos followed me on Twitter, and all kinds of crazy amounts of people have been contacting us.
The show where we get you the week's biggest stories from around this world.
Hello and welcome to WION World is One. You're watching WION Climate Tracker. I'm Rohit Wellington Raju. Over the next 30 minutes, we will get you all the stories related to climate crisis, from heat wave in India to cyclone Mocha in Bangladesh and Myanmar. Let's get started with the stories we have lined up for you on the show today. Whether the characteristics of tropical cyclones have already changed or will change has been the subject of considerable investigation, often with conflicting results. Amid the build-up of Cyclone Mocha over the Bay of Bengal, experts now say that climate change is making cyclones more intense on both sides of the Indian coast. Large amplitude fluctuations in the frequency and intensity of tropical cyclones greatly complicate the detection of long-term trend and their attribution to rising levels of atmospheric greenhouse gases. Over the last few years, cyclones have made their impact visible on the Arabian Sea in the western coast and Bay of Bengal on the eastern coast. However, future projections based on theory and high-resolution dynamical models consistently indicate that greenhouse warming will cause the globally averaged intensity of tropical cyclones to shift towards stronger storms, whose intensity will increase by 2 to 11% by the year 2100. The most direct influence of climate change on the impacts of tropical cyclones is via coastal flooding. But what is a storm surge? A storm surge is a rise above normal sea level resulting from strong onshore wind and or reduced atmospheric pressure. Storm surges, which accompany tropical cyclones, can cause extensive flooding of coastal areas. The area of seawater flooding may extend along the coast for hundreds of kilometers, with water pushing several kilometers inland if the land is low-lying. The worst impacts of a storm surge occur when it coincides with a particularly high tide. While extreme weather events are a natural feature on the climate system, the atmospheric and surface ocean of today contains significantly more heat than in the 1950s, for example. In fact, the rate of increase in global average temperature since 1970 is approximately 170 times the baseline rate over the past 7,000 years. But what are extreme weather events? The term extreme weather event refers to an occurrence of a value of a weather or climate variable beyond a threshold that lies near the end of the range of observations for that variable. Examples include very high and low temperatures, very heavy rainfall and snowfall in cold climates, and very high wind speeds. By definition, extreme events occur only rarely. They are noticeable because they are so different from usual weather patterns. And they are often associated with adverse impacts on humans, infrastructure, and ecosystems. Since the beginning of this year, a number of deadly cyclones hit various places around the world, starting from Madagascar, Cyclone Cheniso, that affected at least 83,000 residents and displaced nearly 38,000 people, killing around 33 people. In February, Cyclone Freddy hit the South African region of Mozambique, Malawi, Madagascar and Zimbabwe, affecting 500,000 residents and killing hundreds. After witnessing back-to-back cyclones and earthquakes, the Pacific nation of Vanuatu was hit by Category 4 cyclone Kevin in March, and the nation was further ranked most prone to natural disasters by the United Nations. Lastly, days before the Indian Meteorological Department issued advisory about Cyclone Mocha, a severe tropical cyclone Ilsa hit Western Australia as a Category 5 storm, setting a wind speed record but sparing populated areas from major damage. May is the peak of the month for cyclogenesis in the Indian Ocean. Hence, the formation of a tropical cyclone is very timely. But the rapid intensification of these storms is a matter of concern. Researchers and scientists over a period of time have been blaming increasing global temperature behind the changes in the cyclogenesis, particularly over the Indian Ocean. And speaking of cyclones, Cyclone Mocha made a landfall on the coasts of Bangladesh and Myanmar on Sunday. Some 400,000 people were evacuated from the two countries as authorities and aid agencies scrambled to avert heavy casualties from one of the strongest storms to hit the region in recent years. Until now, at least 6 people have been reported dead across Myanmar, with at least 700 injuries. More in our next report.
Storm surges whipped up by a powerful cyclone inundated the Myanmar port city of Heatwave on Sunday. Winds of up to 130 miles per hour ripped away tin roofs and brought down a communications tower. Parts of Heatwave, the capital of Myanmar's Rakhine state, were flooded. Some 400,000 people were evacuated in the country and low-lying neighbouring Bangladesh. Authorities and aid agencies are scrambling to avert heavy casualties from one of the strongest storms to hit the region in recent years. Myanmar has been plunged into chaos since the junta seized power 2 years ago. After a crackdown on protests, a resistance movement is fighting the military on various fronts. Across Rakhine State and the northwest of the country, about 6 million people were already in need of humanitarian assistance. 1.2 million people have been displaced, according to the UN Humanitarian Office. In Bangladesh, authorities moved around 300,000 people to safer areas before the storm hit. Rohingya refugees inside densely populated camps in the Cox's Bazar in the southeast of the country hunkered down inside their ramshackle homes. More than 1 million Rohingya refugees, 500,000 children among them, live in sprawling camps prone to flooding and landslides after having fled a military-led crackdown in Myanmar in 2017.
Shifting from cyclones to tornadoes. A deadly tornado ripped through Texas's coastal town of Laguna Heights on Saturday morning. The tornado caused the death of at least 1 and injured 11. Classified as EF1, the tornado recorded wind speeds between around 86 and 105 miles per hour and caused severe damage to infrastructure and debris scattered around the town. As many as 60 homes were damaged. The Cameron County judge signed a disaster declaration and a temporary shelter in the nearby city of Port Isabel was provided to help 38 people. A nighttime curfew for at least 17 communities was issued by the Cameron County judge and is expected to end on the 16th of May to mitigate the effects of this public health and safety emergency. The order forbids non-residents of Laguna Heights from entering its residential areas. The Texas tornado follows an outbreak of dozens of twisters in Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, and Colorado that caused damage but reported no deaths. Around 200,000 people have been displaced by flash flooding in central Somalia as the Shabelle River burst its banks and submerged roads. The disaster comes on the heels of a record drought that has left millions of Somalis on the brink of famine, with the troubled nation also battling an Islamist insurgency for decades. Inhabitants in Hiran region were forced out of their homes as heavy rainfall caused water levels to rise sharply, with residents carrying their belongings on top of their heads as they waded through flooded streets in search of refuge.
waa masiibo iska rabbaani wax la malaysan kari ma ahayn laakiin haddana maadaama qadartii dhacday oo ku qanacsanahay dadkiina waa ku dhacday marka insha Allah haduu Ilaahay waxaan rajaynaynaa dadaalo badan loogu jira dadkaas qaabkii gacan loo geysan lahaa sidii dadkaas wax loo geersiin lahaa.
Earlier this month, 135 people were killed and more than 9,000 left homeless after heavy rain slashed Rwanda, triggering floods and landslides in several parts of the hilly nation. More than 400 lost their lives due to torrential downpours, floods and landslides last week in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Experts say that extreme weather events are occurring with increased frequency and intensity due to climate change, and Africa, which contributes the least to global warming, is bearing the brunt. Next from India, the unrelenting heat wave has made it difficult for the locals to even step out of their homes as mercury touched as high as 44 degrees Celsius in parts of India on Saturday. Wrapping their heads with scarves, carrying umbrellas and keeping themselves hydrated are some of the refuge that locals are taking to protect themselves from the scorching heat. Indian Meteorological Department issued an advisory for people in the vulnerable category. So elderly, infants and people with chronic diseases were advised to take extra precautions with exposure to heat. The maximum temperature in the country is ranging from 42 to 44 degrees Celsius in several states. The country, especially in eastern states, has started to experience intense heat waves which are likely to prevail during May and June. That's what the Weather Office has said. After a long period of drought, a heavy hailstorm hit Barcelona on Friday, creating dangerous conditions for motorists in the city. Drivers traveling along the road were seen covered in ice caused by the hailstorm. Snow fell in parts of northern Spain after months without any rain. Earlier, high temperatures made it feel more like summer than spring in the country. Hailstones and heavy rain fell in Mediterranean parts of Spain, including Catalonia and Valencia. Spain has registered the driest start to a year. Spain's weather forecaster said that the country experienced less than half the average rainfall during the first 4 months of 2023. And so far, Spain has recorded at least 11 hotter than normal days, which is twice the number typically observed during a full year. As of Sunday, the Canadian province of Alberta is dealing with at least 87 active wildfires. Of those, at least 24 of them were considered out of control. During a press conference, Alberta Wildfire Information Officer informed that the dry, hot conditions are increasing fire risk throughout the province, and officials are now warning residents to be vigilant.
Our peak burning period, which is when the temperatures are at their highest and the fuels are at their driest, is still in front of us.
A total of 14 evacuation orders have been in place, meaning an estimated 19,000 residents have been forced to leave their homes. Saturday's rising temperatures, which forecast to continue throughout the weekend, are expected to increase the spread of the fires. That's what the Met Department has said.
I can say at the provincial level, we've received 300 emails. These are being processed. We're checking to make sure that people are qualified and capable and the resources are available. From there, that information is being provided to the key departments.
On the other hand, Environment Canada warned in a statement that wildfire smoke is causing poor air quality and reduced visibility in many areas of northern Alberta. Further, they advised to monitor for symptoms such as shortness of breath or coughing and to stay inside if possible. The government department further urged citizens to use N95 respirator masks to reduce exposure to fine particles in smoke. In another climate change incident, Spain will ban some outdoor work under extreme heat conditions. The decision was announced by Spain's agricultural minister. This comes after an extraordinary cabinet meeting that was held to discuss on how to tackle the extreme effects of climate change across the country.
Yo creo que este es un tema evidentemente muy preocupante, tanto en los trabajos que suponen una alta carga física, estoy pensando particularmente, pero no únicamente, en sectores como la agricultura o como la construcción, pero no solo en estos sectores, sino horizontalmente en el conjunto de la economía, donde las condiciones de penosidad por la elevación de las temperaturas son muy significativas.
The ban will come into effect when the National Weather Agency issues an alert warning about severe or extreme risk of high temperatures. This includes temperatures above 39 degrees Celsius. The measures will affect outdoor workers engaged in street cleaning, construction and farming. The move comes in the wake of a prolonged drought stalking parts of Spain. 2.2 billion euros have been earmarked to alleviate the drought impact.
Primer objetivo, la regularidad del funcionamiento de la producción alimentaria en España, y el segundo y complementario del mismo, evidentemente, aliviar las cargas de nuestros agricultores y ganaderos en relación con este tema, con la sequía, pero también con las consecuencias de, a pesar de haber disminuido la presión, continúan existiendo en relación con el alza de los precios de los insumos, en particular energéticos, de alimentación animal y de fertilizantes.
Spain registered the driest start to a year, according to the state Met agency. It had less than half the average rainfall in the first 4 months of this year. Sustainable fashion, vegan fashion products, we've heard it all. But what about fashion accessories that are made of fruit pulp? Are they durable enough? Our correspondent Siddharth MP brings us this report from India's Central Leather Research Institute in Chennai.
India is the world's largest exporter of mangoes. In this part of the world, it's known as the king of fruits. Summers in India are incomplete without mangoes, and now mangoes can even complete your style statement in the form of bags, wallets, laptop sleeves and whatnot. Fashion accessories from fruits. How did the idea come about?
We don't have enough hides and skins to meet all the demands of the consumer industry. So the option that we had to look out for was, is there anything natural that you can go, unlike the synthetic materials like PVC and those kind of things. So we were like looking into what all can go natural, having some fiber structure in it, and can be equivalent to that of an animal skin.
Scientists and researchers at the Central Leather Research Institute zeroed in on mangoes. The mango fruit was selected for a variety of reasons. Mangoes are available in abundance. They are biodegradable and can be sourced from across India.
We take the wasted mangoes from the farmers, which is about 30% of the total harvesting. It is wasted because of the quality issues. And we are taking this raw material and then remove only the seed and then make them into a pulpy form and mix with the certain biopolymers. And then we try to cast them, and then after drying, we try to apply certain surface coating, and also we do some printing of whatever the designs you like. And then the final material is ready.
The material made of mango pulp and natural polymers is said to be much more sustainable than animal skin. While conventional leather takes 2 weeks to prepare, the mango-based material takes barely 3 days. While huge amounts of water is required to process animal skin, barely a liter or 2 would suffice for this new material. It has the soft texture and color of mango skin, but is also durable and strong. This mango pulp-based material is seen as an alternative to synthetic leather, which takes decades to degrade. As 50% of the material is mango pulp, it is easy to manufacture and also degrade naturally after disposal.
India is the world's largest producer of mangoes, but with bountiful production, there is also losses and huge wastage that takes place. Now, wasted mangoes and wasted mango pulp can be turned into fine and thin sheets like this. Informally, this material is known as mango leather. It is of course a leather-like material. And now the technology for this is ready and patented, and it's been developed by India's Central Leather Research Institute. The technology to manufacture mango leather has also been transferred to a private firm, and very soon belts, fashion accessories like bags and shoes also can be manufactured using this material. From Chennai with video journalist Yogesh, Siddharth MP, WION World is One.
And that's a wrap on WION Climate Tracker. Thanks for watching. News and updates continue right here on WION World is One. Goodbye.
Gravitas tells you stories which others won't. And tonight we will tell you about this new strategic map that is being drawn.
They say your enemy's enemy is your friend. Is that the foundation of the new defense bridge between India and America?
This is what separates us from others who claim to be telling you global